Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Man on Way George Page coming to you live on YouTube. Wait, folks. I saw this about a couple of days ago, and I know this is something that needs to be recognized and mentioned. As you know, if you follow the sport of NASCAR, which I really don't follow NASCAR. I used to follow it when I was younger. I was a fan of NASCAR when I was younger, but you get older and you realize nothing exciting about watching, cars running around in a circle for about almost 2.5 hours. But anyway, this was some history-making moment, especially in Black history for us people. The sport of NASCAR for many years has been predominantly white. It's just many of it. It's that's what it is. And recently, one of the few minorities in the sport just won his first NASCAR race, and that is one Mr. William Darrell Wallace Jr., or better yet known as Bubba Wallace. And just about a couple of days, this weekend, I think this past Sunday, Bubba won at the Yellowwood 500, his first NASCAR race in the series that he ever won. And Bubba is one of the few black men to compete in the sport of NASCAR. And this needs to be recognized. As anything that somebody in our culture does needs to be recognized. I know a lot of people didn't mention it because I think a lot of certain pages don't talk about it because the fact is they don't see him as black, but he is black. And this is a major thing. He's one of two black men to ever do this in the history of the sport. But this needs to be recognized. I know some people don't want to recognize, but it should be recognized. And Bubba is just so excited. Being that he winning this his first major NASCAR race, and he should be. And it's just one thing. We as a community should recognize this. I know some people may not, but I think I need to recognize this. Anything that somebody out of our community, does something historical needs to be acknowledged. And the history of NASCAR, it came from when back in the day when bootleggers souped up their cars to outrace the law. But once prohibition ended and alcohol was legal again, then they had nothing to do. So they turned they took the cars and had racing, and then from that grew a sport. Now Bubba drives for Richard Petty's racing group, and Richard Petty's a legend. I used to remember watching Richard Petty as a kid. I was a Richard Petty fan. I even had a Richard Petty little car, as a kid, and that's when I was younger. I used to like NASCAR. But Bubba also has a little controversy about last year where there was an issue. Somebody placed looked like a noose in his garage, and there was a lot of controversy about that. As you know, recently NASCAR has separated himself from remember they took out the Confederate flag because NASCAR has been a Southern sport, but NASCAR is growing practically, I won't say worldwide, but it's been raced in other states outside of the South. And Bubba got a lot of support from a lot of racers, from the great Mr. Richard Petty himself, and you got to think about it. As long as he is, his mama's black, he's going to be black. There's nothing else about that. And people have an issue with that. But the problem is, you can't change people's minds, But Bubba's doing something that is history made. It's just, like I say, he's only one of two black men to have win in a NASCAR event. And that's one Mr. Wendell Scott. And Wendell Scott is a legend. He started in NASCAR around about I think about 50s, and he went through a lot of stuff. And he won his first NASCAR race back in '63. And you remember there was a movie about Mr. Scott, which starred the great late Richard Pryor. It was called Grease Lightning. I remember that movie when I was a kid. I saw it, and it came out. I saw it, later on when I was younger. It came out back in '77, and I was only 4 years old, but I saw it some years later. And this was a great event to recognize this black man for being a sport where it's just always been predominant by a specific way, especially white people. But Bubba now has made history of being one of two black men to win a NASCAR event. And I want to wish the young man congratulations. I mean, this is profoundly a piece of history. And I'm hoping that others will see this. There are a growing number of blacks who've been in the sport of NASCAR, maybe a few here and there. Also, Indy. Indy is more European, but it's been a growing sport here in the United States too. And NASCAR has really expanded, as I said before. It's not just done here in the South, but I know there's been races in Las Vegas, and I think some in New York, I believe, and a couple others, non-Southern states. But like I say, I want to wish this young man congratulations, because he's in the history books, not just the history of NASCAR, but in the history of our community, for being one of 2 black men to achieve this greatness, to win a NASCAR event. And like I said, more, I think you can see in the future. I think you will see more young people. Maybe young people from our community might be interested in this, seeing as somebody that looks like them and that has the same complexion as them, competing in a race which has been, like I said, dominated by one ethnic group. But like I said, I want to congratulate Bubba, and I hope that this is maybe we see more of him in the future, and maybe even win more races. It's difficult to win a NASCAR race. You have to your car has to be really good. You have to be really great as a racer, and to pull off a win like this is just a great thing. So I want to recognize this young black man, and that's what he is, a young black man, for achieving something that is very difficult for a lot of just a lot of people to do. There's a lot of racers who never have won a race, and and he's going to be a legend. And I hope people will recognize this, especially people in our community. This needs to be recognized and needs to be talked about. But I understand that some people are not a fan of NASCAR, especially history especially us black people. But you know what? I just want to pay attention to what this man has done. So this is your man all the way at George Page. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out.